make it there and can make it back.
Salutations and shit, folks. Welcome back to another episode of your favorite travel podcast, Travel and Shit, where your host, D. Carey, have an experiential conversation about the nuanced ways that travel intersects with regular life. So I'm going to loop y'all in on another rabbit hole that I fell down. This week we're talking about skincare, but in particular, international regulation differences. So, I don't know if you guys have noticed. However, if you haven't, it's possibly because you haven't been watching on the YouTubes. I'm actually quite adorable. So, heads up, if you are interested, the podcast is also available on the YouTubes. And I bring it up because, and usually I bring it up when I have a guest, but I bring it up now because skin. Over the past, I'd say we're in 2024, so over the past 4 years, I specifically remember, or I can specifically, I don't want to say attribute it to the masks, but I didn't notice the amount of breaking out that my face was doing, mostly on my cheeks, until probably 21, 22. I'd say as soon as we got back, I'd say around 2021 is a safe assumption, right? Let's just jump and say 2021. Now, I have generally been one of those people that doesn't have to do anything to their face. I used to consistently get complimented on, you have such nice skin, your skin is so clear, and then that stopped. My skin has changed. I still like the skin that I'm in. However, I have realized I'd have to pay more attention to it. Absolutely. I used to be able to just wash my face with like Dove. I started using Noxzema and Neutrogena, like I'd say a bunch of us did. Back in, the 90s, early 2000s, when I actually started washing my skin. Remember Clearasil? I don't know if it's still a thing, but you remember, I've just felt like there was so much more marketed to teens. That's another rabbit hole. However, I don't know, that maybe I'm just not noticing them, but I feel like there were a ton of things that were marketed to like teens, young people in general. And it just felt like we had a bunch of options. I remember even Teen Spirit was a thing. That was deodorant. I don't know if they still make the shit, but anyway, I used to not have to consider anything. I don't wear makeup. I have never been a makeup girl. Just not my thing. I feel like I look like a clown. And my mom never wore makeup growing up. So it was just normalized. Like, the women in my family just don't really wear makeup. So for me, it was never something that like I aspired to or worked to. So it's not that I'm not taking my makeup off properly. That should be a reason as to why my skin started acting up. But a bitch did get older. I will be 39 in, what are we in, June? 3 months, since it's the beginning of June, July, not even. So like 2 months and change. August is my birthday. Just realized how much closer I am, and I got so excited because birthdays are personal holidays to me. But I'll be 39. And so I realized that I'm getting older, and skincare is something that I have to pay attention to. So I started looking into skincare routines and products to try to combat the specific issues that I personally am trying to work through on my skin. For the record, since we are having this discussion about skincare, I'd say I've got normal to, I'd say normal, because in some areas it may feel dry, and then in other areas it feels like I can get a bit oily quicker. But I'd say I would likely have normal to dry skin, not necessarily oily skin, I don't think. And mostly breakouts and inflammation, like red skin and hyperpigmentation and some dark spots. Those are the specific things that I was looking into. And in looking into this, I tap danced over to TikTok. I'm there as well. And I specifically look for Black women. And then I'll also caveat to women over 40. And I was seeing so many steps and so many products, and too many steps for me. So I ended up taking my search off of TikTok and to, I won't say the good old, but old fashioned fucking internet. And somehow because I was looking for more blogs, I was looking for more information that I could just scan and read, because I don't really want to listen to you talk for a minute and a half before I realize you're not saying anything relevant to me, or your personality gets in the way. Give me the information, right? Um, so I'm online Googling, and then I discovered there's J Beauty. So K Beauty, J Beauty. K Beauty is Korean skincare. J Beauty would be Japanese skincare. Didn't even know there was a fucking Japanese skincare movement. Skincare all over the world. So I thought that that was going to be the topic of the conversation, the topic of the episode. That'll still come, just different regional skin practices. I wanted to look into like where the most, I won't say outlandish, but where some of the most unique products are sourced from in the world. What are some products that are great for skincare that you can only get in certain regions of the world? What country in a specific corner has the particular plant or animal that is responsible for creating or generating ingredients? One of the things that I used to, and I still use it, but I haven't purchased in a little bit, or I don't necessarily intend to use or purchase any more. The particular item that I was using is EuroBB. I do enjoy it. It was great for a while, but I'm seeing that it's just not really doing what I needed to do. And that was after I had to start washing my face twice a day, in the mornings and in the evenings. I used to be able to just wash my face in the morning and go the rest of the day. Unless, of course, I took a shower before I went to bed. But I'm a morning shower girl. And then sometimes I will shower in the evening or in the afternoon if I need to, or if I want to. But I don't leave this house to conduct any type of substantial business where anybody is going to see or interact with me without washing my ass. But I was seeing that K Beauty, not just K Beauty in particular, but just like the products, I was starting to, I was talking about EuroBB. Donkey milk was one of the most, I won't say outlandish, but standoutish. It jumped out to me because what the fuck is donkey milk? I couldn't tell you what it is. I remember hearing the esthetician, I think she's also like a chemist, who creates the product, Mercedes, on the Friend Zone. And shout out to Fran. If Fran recommends it, I'm going to try it. So I've been using Xora for maybe like a year, maybe a little bit longer now. And it's not doing what it used to do. Not for me anymore. So I was looking into more products, K Beauty, J Beauty, on the interwebs, had to transfer off of TikTok because it just wasn't really, I haven't found those girls. I haven't found the people. Please, if you know anybody, send them my way. I would love to check out more skincare content on TikTok, but very beginner friendly, very basic. I am not a multiple step kind of girl. Maybe 4 at most, and I'm talking cleanse, tone, moisturize, and sunscreen. That's what I'm talking. That's the extent of what I can do, or I'm willing to do in this stage of life. So I say all that to say that's where we started. I will eventually get to that because I am still quite interested in the things that I mentioned. But what I came across and could not get past was that the United States, regulated by the Food and Drug Administration, has so many ingredients that they will allow that are not allowed in the EU, in the European Union. And that was, I won't say striking because I've heard that before, but the sheer number of chemicals, the sheer number of ingredients is really what caught me off guard. There are over 1,000, I think at this point, maybe 1,300 chemicals that are not allowed to be in products manufactured in the EU, European Union, that are allowed to be used or that aren't banned in the United States. There, I want to say, are maybe 6 to 11 that are banned in the US. Now, let me start with this article that I found on The Guardian. It will be linked in the description box below. Had quite a bit of interesting information, right? In cosmetics alone, the EU has banned or restricted more than 1,300 chemicals, while the US has outlawed or curbed just 11. At the heart of the EU's approach is what is known as its REACH laws. And REACH stands for Registration, Evaluation, Authorization, Restriction of Chemicals. So those laws require manufacturers to prove to regulators that a product is safe before it can be used. The US has similar rules for new chemicals entering the market, but no such precautionary principles for the thousands of potential toxins already in use. And for me, it was that. So they are basically telling you, as substantiated by Scott Gottlieb, I'm not sure how he pronounces it, but he was a former FDA commissioner. It lists him as the departing FDA commissioner. I don't know when he was departing from, but I feel like this article was pre-pandemic, max 2016, but not necessarily a very new, because quiet as it's kept, 2016 is almost 10 years ago. But he had noted that, and this is why that last section, and this makes I don't want to say like my eyebrows stay stood, like they was up and they ain't come down for a minute. But departing FDA commissioner said to be clear, there are currently no legal requirements for any cosmetic manufacturer marketing products to American consumers to test their products for safety. This means that ultimately a cosmetic manufacturer can decide if they'd like to test their product for safety and register it with the FDA. They get to choose. They get to fucking decide. Reading that back one more time. Scott Gottlieb, the departing FDA commissioner, stated, to be clear, there are currently no legal requirements for any cosmetic manufacturer marketing products to American consumers to test their products for safety. That's where you lost me. The shit that's out doesn't necessarily have to be tested first. Now, there is a video that I'm going to play the audio from that was on TikTok. I didn't find it on TikTok. I found it in an article that I came across, what I'm going to get to next, that will further go into that differentiation. But for me, that was, I won't say enough, right? I'm not going through my closets and my bathroom cabinets to just throw everything out and live clean, start fresh, because I completely understand that a lot of things may have names that sound very scary or chemically, but are naturally occurring and are very safe. My degree did not cover that. I avoided all the sciences, okay? So, and I definitely did not excel in chemistry at all. There was hope for that, but it was the nun that taught it in high school. I will forever blame her for my disdain for chemistry, if you will. But that was very alarming to me. One, the sheer number of chemicals that are banned in the EU, but not here, is alarming. They are most visible, God bless y'all, that read the ingredients on the packaging of the things that they're buying. I recently did an allergy test. Plot twist, I'm allergic to mad things. But thankfully, for now, they're mostly environmental factors, pollen, grass, all kinds of fucking trees. So many trees. But seasonal allergies, dogs and cats had no fucking clue. Uh, Also learned that your dog, you will actually become immune to them, like you or your cat, like you get over that after a while. I guess it's just from gradual, what do you call it? Not expulsion, not experience. Oh, it's right there. Um, there's a word that's right there. This is really bothering me. Oh my God. Um, it's like an X word, like exposure. Fucking hell. Why was that so difficult? But the constant exposure, I guess, to your dog is what allows you to develop that immunity. God bless the folks that do. I actually work with a guy that does allergy shots, but it is the fuck of a commitment. You have to go like every week to get these shots, and you do that for like 6 months. I could never. Absolutely could not. I can't think of too many things that I'd be that consistent for other than this. And that's because I do this basically from my house at this point. Um, but so many chemicals, US doesn't necessarily, it's all guess and check. You can put your shit out there, and then as long as you're not using one of the 11 chemicals that the United States bans, you're pretty much straight to go. So, of the more than 40,000 chemicals on the market in the US, the EPA has only banned six, uh, including polychlorinated biphenyls, known as PCBs, which are linked to cancers, certain aerosol sprays blamed for the hole in the ozone layer, and dioxins used in an ingredient in Agent Orange. So they got rid of some things that were like, oh wow, this is very obviously bad, right? But when I get to a list of things that you would think we had already universally agreed in the United States were bad, and shouldn't be in things, are actually still in things, primarily fucking lead. But we'll get there in a second. Um, and I don't know why I don't just make the font larger, like why I'm sitting here struggling to read what is right in front of me. Is this what this is supposed to be, making it bigger? But it's obviously not. Um, so we're gonna squint. Under another note was, oh, one of the reasons why it was so like weird, if you will, for the EPA. I think it's the Environmental Protection Agency, but under a 1976 law called the Toxic Substances Control Act, TSCA. The EPA had the power to limit chemicals, but critics say it is severely flawed. The act largely focuses on new potential toxins, and even then gives the EPA just 90 days to work out if a new product poses a risk before they hit the market. That seems so fucking limiting. It's like, well, what all do you expect to get done in 90 days? What I am seeing through the Guardian article, very well done. I enjoyed it very much. It made things very clear. It made the information that they were giving you very palatable. So whether or not everyone agrees with it, what you're reading makes sense. And this is from someone who is thinking four different things at the same time as trying to read an article and having to stop, come back, read, make sure you're paying attention to what you're reading, and then like continuing on. So it's really well done. I enjoyed it. Um, what was wild, let me pull that one up. The Okay, here goes. 9 beauty ingredients that are banned in Europe. So why is this not opening in? Oh, I have it as an embed in Notion, and it's not opening into. Boop, here we go. 9, double click, not single click, but legal in the US. So remember when I said that there were things that you would think that we all agreed was like bad? Another one of them, fucking formaldehyde. Most commonly is, and mind you, these are chemicals that are banned in the EU, but legal in the US. So, formaldehyde, and that's most commonly associated with Brazilian blowouts, nail polishes, and nail hardeners, and it's still being used in cosmetic procedures around the US. Um, Wild. It's known to be a carcinogen, but also for being associated with respiratory issues. Next one. And y'all, give me grace with the pronunciations, okay? Appreciate y'all. Hydroquinone. Hydroquinone. Quinone. Yeah, that's what I would say. We'll go with that. Hydroquinone. Possibly a carcinogen. It's banned in concentrations higher than 1% in the EU, and it's most commonly led to photosensitivity. But it was recently banned for use in over-the-counter products in the United States, but you can get it with a prescription. So that one not as bad, however, completely and would you know what though? That is of note because that will bring me to another point that I will expound on after this list, but I'll bring up now. So the TikTok video that was embedded into one of the articles that I found is a woman, don't know who she is, but she's basically saying that one of the reasons why the EU bans seem so much more extensive and wide reaching, if you will, than the US paltry numbers is because in the EU, they do not distinguish between products for cosmetics and products for like pharmaceutical use, it seems like. So there are things that may be like in medications that should not be in cosmetics. She'll do a better job of explaining it. But so for that point that I made about the hydroquinone, it being banned in over the counter products, but not in prescribed products, right? So what the lady was saying was that in the US, they don't group together cosmetics and like pharmaceutical products. So it seems as if nothing is banned, but the way the US is looking at it, allegedly, is, oh, well, like, why would you put that in cosmetic? No, that goes in like a pharmaceutical or something. So we're not even going to ban it from cosmetics because that's not something you would put in a cosmetic. However, considering the fact that the shit don't seem to have to need to be tested to go onto the market, why would we assume or expect that companies are going to do the right thing, right? Like why are we trusting big business? So, another one that's on here. Let's skip to something good. Lead. The ingredients the ingredient is banned or regulated for cosmetic use in the EU, Canada, and Japan. So not just the EU. This is, and mind you, the EU is the European Union, so it's not like just Europe, but like it'll be the countries that are included. Who was the country that said they wanted to pull out from the European Union? One of them did. Well, look up the European Union, but it's a bunch of them. So it's not just European Union. Canada ain't fucking with it, and neither is Japan. So obviously lead. It is a known neurotoxin and has been linked to reduced fertility in men and women and can still be harmful in small doses. While the dangers of lead seem obvious, it's been found in lipsticks in the US from various brands. In fact, one study conducted by the Campaign for Safe Cosmetics that tested 33 popular lipstick brands showed that 61% of lipsticks contained lead. That means that it is way more than I would like to fuck with. However, the FDA has ruled that trace amounts found in lipstick are not enough to do any real harm. Lead is toxic, says King, who notes it can be found in hair dye in addition to lipstick. King is doot. a chemist. She is a cosmetic chemist and dermatologist. Oh no, dermatologist is somebody else. So I don't know where they found these people that they spoke to. And these chemicals that I'm reading off now is from an article on Birdie, Byrdie. I am unfamiliar with the site, but they had chemist Miss King, or person King. What was the next one? Parabens. This one was fucking interesting. So that's one of the things that I have seen um, without sans in a lot of products, that they will advertise themselves as paraben free. And what is wildly concerning, if no other way to phrase it to me, is that I can't say that I've noticed things being heavily sulfate also. That's not on the list, but you know how you'll see sulfate, paraben free, those types of things. I have only seen that like heavily pushed maybe in like the last, damn, I want to say like 5 years, but I could say maybe back to like 2016, and that's almost 10 years at this point. So I want to be fair and say for maybe like 5 to 10 years, I can say I personally, someone who doesn't really read ingredients or pay attention to what's in the shit that I buy. Um, but again, I don't really pay attention to these things, but this is something that I have absolutely noticed in even the marketing of the products. They put it right on the fucking package, right? Sulfate free, paraben free. And I especially noticed that in my shampoos, conditioners, and other hair care products. Sure, I don't have no fucking hair anymore. So that hasn't been something that I've been paying a lot of attention to. However, I've also been seeing no parabens in lotions and other products that I purchase for the house and for myself. So parabens act as preservatives, preventing the growth of microbes, explains Dr. Zeichner, who was a dermatologist that they consulted in this. So 5 different parabens have been completely banned in the EU. We're going to skip over reading those, while others are strictly regulated because they are believed to be endocrine disruptors. This is based on lab research and animal data that don't represent real-world use of parabens in skincare products. Dr. Zeicher says they are unlikely to cause any harm to our health when they are applied to the skin in skincare formulations. That being said, most of the new skincare products coming to the market are all paraben-free. So they mistyped here. So you do have the option to avoid them if you choose to. And here in the US, the FDA does not believe that parabens present a danger to our health when used in cosmetics. Parabens are commonly found in lotion, foundation, and plenty of other beauty products. Now, see what the problem for me here is that I find it quite strange, alarming, disconcerting, if you will, that so many companies are now pushing paraben free products, but he's trying to say that they're unlikely to cause any harm to our health when applied to the skin in skincare formulations. So if they're not causing any issues, of all the things that may possibly cause issues, why are so many products now paraben free? That was another rabbit hole that I was this close to falling down, but I decided to push on. This one was a little to me, and to me validated the fact that I can't say that I want to wholeheartedly trust what a company decides for me. And that's another thing, right? And similar to the argument that I give you guys after every episode, and travel being so much more than vacation, here's a parallel, an analogy, if you will. You travel more and you get better at it. You go to different places and you book different flights, you book different accommodations. And the more that you do it, the more you get used to it. The more you say, I remember the last time, I'm not fucking with this app because I wasn't able to get any customer service in terms of adjusting or navigating any questions I had with my reservation. When I got to the airport, then people told me, it's above me. I can't really help you with that because you didn't book with us, or whatever that instance may be, right? So you travel more, you learn more, you get better at making decisions that are, in line with the things that you know are important to you. Similarly, you live more, you experience more, you use more products, your body changes, the things that you can consume and use change. What bothers me now didn't always bother me. It didn't bother 25-year-old me, or it didn't bother 15-year-old me or 10-year-old me. Like, these weren't concerns or issues that I have always had. But now that I am older, and now that I have experienced something as simple as calling the fucking pharmacy. So after getting that allergy test, the doctor that I saw threw in 1,000 fucking prescriptions. Not 1,000. It was literally like 6 or 7. He sent in 1,000,000 fucking prescriptions. And my assumption for that, there being so many, is guess and check, right? If Allegra don't do it for you, I sent you Zyrtec. If Zyrtec don't do it for you, I sent you fucking Claritin. If the eye drops that I sent initially don't work, I got another option for you. If the nose spray, if that's where your issue is this week, or if that's what's bothering you in this, use the nose. So he sent a bunch of different things. And to me, it's just, what is going to stick? Figure out what works for you. But these are the things that I suggest. Let the people at the insurance cover it. That's what my assumption of it was, right? So the things that are newly aggravants, or things that bother you now, just because they didn't bother you before, it doesn't mean you're not justified for them bothering you. I ended up having to call Walgreens because the app was saying that for like 4 of the 7, there was an issue. Call the pharmacy. I waited on hold for 30 fucking minutes. 30 minutes. And after the first like 10, 15 minutes, it was like, okay, now I'm not hanging up because I've waited this long. So someone has to work to pay me back for the time that I have spent. Thankfully, this was after work. Thankfully, I forgot to call on my lunch break. And this is now probably after like 5:30, closer to 6 o'clock. So I waited on fucking hold, and I was big pissed. And I was so frustrated by the level or the lack of customer service that I got. And mind you, I understand why he behaved the way he did. He was speaking mad fast. He was trying to rush me off. He kept repeating himself. After me asking the same question and explaining to him where in his answer he was lacking in a response to the question that I specifically asked him, right? And so I am doing my best to be so patient, because I understand that this man is probably maybe one of a few people that are answering the phones at this pharmacy, while also trying to navigate the people online. But what doesn't help me is you not answering the questions that I'm asking you. So the longer I have lived, and the more that I have dealt with people outside of my person having to deal and navigate life, businesses don't give a fuck. Corporations don't give a fuck. Larger industry, larger the system, if you will. I can't say that I wholeheartedly trust that they're going to make the best decisions for me or have my best interests at heart. I'm also very acutely aware that what happens to me and the things that I do are in my control. They are my responsibility. Should something go wrong, I'm going to then be met with, well, why didn't you ask more questions? Or why didn't you do any further investigating? So my lackluster approach to skincare, my lackluster approach to travel at 27, at 30, it just doesn't work for me anymore. And I say all that to say, another parallel in travel to regular fucking life. The more you do something, the more it makes sense to the way you approve of things being done for you. So, following up with that TikTok that I mentioned, only going to go through a couple of those. There are a bunch of different other chemicals on here that are listed, and again, this link will be in the description box. So if you want to see more of those, jump in there and see what those good folks have to say. But I wanted to play this TikTok where this young lady basically describes why it's not exactly the best to just kind of go blindly with listening to all the different regulations that are in place. Let me bring Shorty to the top. Unmute. Oh, y'all, it's in my earbuds. Hold on. Let me change the speaker from AirPods to MacBook. Okay. Here we go. Girl. Oh. That's the speaker on here. Output. Boom. Political courage. That big, long list of banned ingredients by the EU looks really scary when you flash it by real quick. But let's take a quick freeze frame and look deeper. Okay, I just paused it pretty early on, so let's take a closer look. Recognize epinephrine. That's the ingredient in an EpiPen that undoes anaphylaxis. Number 17 right here is a heart medication. Number 19 is a cough suppressant. Number 20 reverses opioid overdoses. Number 23 is a local anesthetic. Most of the ingredients on the banned EU cosmetics list are medical drugs, and it just gets down to a fundamental difference in the way the US versus the EU tackle the regulation of cosmetics. The EU has just listed out every single ingredient that you are not allowed to put into a cosmetic. The US actually separates cosmetics and drugs. So when you're looking at the regulation for a product, you have to answer the question, is this a cosmetic or is it a drug? If it has an ingredient that treats a medical condition, then it's a drug, and so it is just not regulated as a cosmetic at all. So I'm going to pause her right there. Problem for me there. If it's something that treats a medical condition, what does a lot of skincare do, especially like for the face? If not treat a medical condition? Is acne not a medical condition? Is hyperpigmentation not a medical condition? Like, these are all things that you can do a prescription for, and these are things that you can do an over-the-counter remedy for. So that, while I understand in theory what she's going for, there's like a wall. It's a glass wall, but it's a wall. Like, so what I don't know if she's referring to something, say lipstick, not done to do a medical condition, but what about shampoo? I'm thinking like dandruff shampoos. I want to say Dr. Scholl's, but I don't think Dr. Scholl's is shoes. Like the anti dandruff shampoos and stuff like that. A lot of those are treating medical conditions, but they are sold as cosmetics, things like that. So that I would want more clarity on, but I see her point in terms of the, what do you call, like the drug that stops overdoses, like a Narcan kind of, whatever would be in that, whatever the particular. I can understand why that may or may not be in a cosmetic, but a lot of things have multiple different uses. Just because it's, categorized differently, I still, again, it's glass, but there's a wall here. We're going to let her finish. So the US list of banned ingredients in cosmetics were ingredients that were once actually used in cosmetics and then were found to be unsafe, whereas the EU is listing a ton of ingredients that no one would ever put in cosmetics just because that's how their regulatory body chooses to handle it. The assumption that nobody would put it in a cosmetic is problematic for me, because there seems to be no regulation as to whether that is true or not until after the fact. They can put the shit on the market. So how am I supposed to know that those products aren't in it? Especially if I'm not a chemist. You will very rarely see a difference between
cosmetics in the US versus the EU, they will usually have the exact same ingredients list.
That's another thing for me. They can have the same ingredients list, but in what order do the products fall? It's kind of like dog food, right? The items at the top of the list are the ones that are like the base of your food. Those are what you're going to find the most of. They are the larger portion of the food. So stuff like chicken, rice, carrots. And then one thing that I know that they used to tell you about dog food is be very careful about where corn falls in dog food, because I don't even think humans digest corn fully, right? I don't think dogs do either. So you don't necessarily want corn at the top of their shit because it ain't really doing nothing for them. Um, so let's say just because the list or the ingredients list is the same doesn't necessarily mean, to my layman's understanding, that the quantity of said ingredient is the same. So you can say have, let's just say, parabens that are banned in the EU but allowed in the US, right? Well, no, that's not a good one. Let's just use parabens. Let's just assume that they are not banned in the EU. There may be a 0.2% in the EU, but in the US it might be a full 1% that's being used, right? So just because the lists are the same, I don't trust that that necessarily means what I think she's implying in that state, if that makes sense. Makes sense to me. I'm hoping you're following me here.
At the end of the day, US cosmetics are not any less safe than EU cosmetics. The regulatory agencies that oversee them just approach them differently, with the EU choosing to include every possible ingredient that is not allowed, and the US saying if it has any of these ingredients, it's a drug, and it doesn't even matter how it's regulated as cosmetics. If it doesn't have any of those medical ingredients, then it's a cosmetic, and then you can't use these ingredients. But that does not sell nearly as many tickets to go see the fear mongering.
Yeah, so the fear mongering part, I can't say she's wrong. There are plenty of things that are blown out of proportion when you don't have all the information at hand. Again, I am not a chemist. This is a Google search that we can all do. Although there has been proof that Google is pretty shit now, but another digressed topic. Um, there was another comment on this. This was on Reddit. So I found this, and this was only from 2 years ago. That woman speaking was Stratiaskin, Stratiaskin. That is her TikTok handle if you want to get more information from her. And there, again, this link will be in the description box below. But there are a couple of, there's like a really thick, if you will, comment here. I'm trying to see if they list what like their job is. It's like where they are, blah 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 blah. No, because I don't want to just go with a random person's comment, but it is a pretty well, a hearty response, if you will. And there are quite a few. There's one person that's mentioning the medical device industry, and how the differences fall in EU and US in terms of what is even allowed near some of the things. And because it's medical, it is more constricted. Yeah, obviously, medical devices have more serious regulations than cosmetics, but the EU is like 4 times harder to get certification from than the FDA in general. But that is something, well, that in general, and that being the video that the young lady was that I played. I definitely want to talk with a chemist about the different regulatory bodies and what all is to be believed and what's not to be believed. But for another day. So, say all that to say, what followed next for me was, well, where can we get products? Like, if we wanted to buy products from the EU, like if we wanted to buy products that were um, more restricted, if you will. And mind you, I didn't even mention foods. That is an entirely different category that I didn't want to, like, I didn't want it to be too broad because I knew I was going to probably, go in a bit for, yeah, look at this, already 46 fucking minutes. Jesus fucking Christ. But the what was I just saying? I didn't want to go the food direction. Where were you going to find them? Right. So I was looking into like where would one get like Korean skincare. I am not really interested in purchasing um, too many things that matter to me from Amazon anymore, only because I recently wanted to try The Ordinary. And this was probably a few months back. I, however, was being too impatient and didn't want to order it from the website. I decided to order it on Amazon. I ordered like some of the products that I wanted to try from the website and other products from Amazon. Turns out at least one of the products that I ordered from Amazon was very clearly I can't remember what the name is, but like it not a dupe, but it was fake. It wasn't legit. Shit was spelled wrong on the fucking box. I think it was like the toner that I wanted to use. And I may have put it on, I don't even know if I put it on my face before I noticed it. I might have, if I did, I ain't use it more than once. But egregious misspellings on the box. So I'm like, oh, absolutely not. And then I'm just like, are they using a different language? Like, is this like a European spelling, a French spelling? What the fuck do I know, right? I went on the website and confirmed I was correct. They are using the American ass spelling, good old English, and American English, and it was misspelled. So toss the product. Um, that being the case, I personally am taking a sidestep from Amazon unless I would purchase through the seller's like official page on Amazon, or if it's something that I really don't give too much of a fuck about. But now that I am here in this bigger age where my hormones are doing different things, my skin is doing different things, I have a whole new fucking body. Like everything is new. I have more concerns about what I am putting into my body or putting onto my body. And I don't know if there's some kind of correlation between just being older in life and knowing that you're closer to a lot of health concerns and problems and conditions. Like you get older and then you be like, damn, am I going to get cancer? Or am I all of a sudden going to have, some kind of wild hormonal change? The hormone changes have already been different. Like your 30s they tell you about puberty and adolescence and all of those hormones. And it's just like, wow, thanks for preparing me. Whoa, after 30, shit changes all over again. So it's like you go through that experience and then you realize, yo, this shit is really on me to figure out. There's all this information out there in terms of, life and what to expect at different ages and stages and whatnot. But it is up to you to use the information in a way that is not palatable, but that is words. I really got to start reading more. That is something that I probably heard, because why would I remember it if I read it if I'm having difficulty remembering my words? But losing your words or just not being able to grasp your words is um I don't know where it was, but they were saying it's, and by they, because I don't remember, um not reading enough. I got to get back into reading more. Sidebar, then jumping back in, started reading Dr. Walker's book, Beyond the Shores. Mad good. Got my mom a copy. She's in it. We were supposed to be reading together, but then I got distracted by another book that I started reading. Shout out to Isis Bradford, I want to say is her last name. She wrote a book about, I think it's skywriting your business using social media or something like that. But I just wanted to support her as a creative because I love her as an entrepreneur, and her content is mad chill. And the book is actually like really easy to follow the steps, because if you haven't noticed, I don't really be on the social medias, and it's free marketing other than y'all telling your friends to listen to the show because you enjoy it and you like me and you think it's entertaining. But yeah, that's why I got into that. So reading, getting back into that slowly but surely. I will get better. And best case scenario, I can find my words so much easier for you because there are so many of them in this medium. I won't say medium. I have a pretty small head in this small little noggin of mine. But back to you being responsible for your fucking self. I'm at an age now where these things matter to me. So I am trying to be more proactive about where I am getting my products from. So I looked into where to get Korean beauty, Korean skincare, and then I was looking into where you can find products that are made in Europe and get them shipped here. And it was a Reddit link, more so specifically. Well, there were two. There was one for K Beauty, and then there was one for, let's call it E Beauty, European Beauty. And I actually stumbled across, let me see if I can find it again, not website, but a brand. Oh, here it is. Lauren Brooke. I don't know what old girl does, but her product apparently has a European Union certification. And they note here, proud to be the first natural cosmetics company in the US to have products that are European Union certified. Look for this certification badge on product pages that indicates that the product has been certified with the EU Commission. Google what that looks like. It's a circle, the letters EU at the top. There's a ring of stars, and then it says certified. So EU certified in the middle, a circle of stars, all in, I guess, an overlaying circle or enclosed by a circle. That's what it looks like. And then she goes on to, I'll put this in the description box as well, but then she goes on to detail, what I'd mentioned before, 11 chemicals banned in the US, multiple, 1378 banned in EU, and then lists what the actual European Union cosmetics standards are. And let me just read the fucking first one for you. EU Cosmetics Regulatory Body. In the European Union, the EU Commission regulates the use of cosmetics. Cosmetics must be reviewed by the EU Commission before being placed on the market. I fuck with that. Like, test it before I have to do a skin patch test. I guess that's why all the things on the label always tell you to do a skin patch test to make sure that, it's good for you, which, I mean, personal accountability, you should be doing that as well. Another thing of personal accountability, one thing that I have a hard time, I don't want to say I have a hard time feeling bad for people, because I can feel bad for somebody even if I see how they got themselves into the problem. But one thing, that I always get a little chuckle for is when someone says that, oh, this is why I don't fuck with Airbnb, because X, Y, and Z happened, and this and this and that and that. Okay, well, how many reviews did that listing have? Did you go into it blindly? Did you take a gamble? Did you make a calculated risk? Yeah, you got to check the reviews. You have to do a skin test, a little spot test. You can't just dive in headfirst and expect that it'll always work out. You got to do a little looking into something. Test it out first. I personally do not book something that's new. If there's 0 reviews, it is 0% chance that it is for me. I'd rather someone else be the sacrificial lamb. Now, I will say, my baby, God bless him, he will take that risk, but he's got a really good track record of us not being in miserable locations. It's worked out so far, but it's a gamble. It is a guess and check. And with something like skincare, like you got to walk around with the skin that you have on you, like not really something all of us are willing to gamble with. So I will put the links for those Reddit posts in the description box as well that list a couple of different websites and different stores that people have found that they enjoyed purchasing products, whether they be K-Beauty or they be EU certified cosmetics, so that you can consider whether or not you want to wait the month, if you will, for purchasing something that may be from Korea, or if you want to maybe spend a little bit more for for your products that have ingredients that may be a bit more scrutinized and tested before coming to your doorstep and then to your skin. So it's worth looking into. If you find that you read reviews on experiences and you read reviews and you look at TikToks and YouTube videos about a destination before you go there, why not do the same thing for your skincare? Different countries handle those things very differently. And as we have seen today, it's worth looking into. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. We'll be back next week with another travel and shit banger for you. Bye.